Hello and welcome. My name is Brian Kaplan, editor of The Banker. I'm here with Danielle Miles, who's the investment banking editor. And we're at the Investment Banking Awards 2016 at Claridge's in London. So Danielle, you've been looking through all the applications. You were on the judging committee. What sort of response did we have to our Investment Banking Awards this year?
It was a fantastic response, actually, and it was from the major players, but also a lot of the smaller banks that are coming up as well, and from every region. So it was definitely an impressive effort.
And that's interesting, really, because the investment banking environment has not been that good, has it? Or at least it's been challenging, shall we say?
It's certainly been challenging in some ways, and that really didn't show through in terms of the submission. So I don't think those problems should overshadow the sort of genuine and scalable examples of innovation, which obviously the banks have been doing through their different divisions over the past 12 months.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about the challenges first. I mean, we've had very slow economic growth, haven't we? And we've had a number of shocks and sort of political crises. What sort of impact has that had on the market?
Yes, it's been an unexpected year in many ways, I guess. I guess what this really shows in terms of the banks, some of them have come to the fore in terms of being able to identify pockets of liquidity, which others haven't been able to.
Right.
It's also shown that banks are really playing to their strengths, and I guess this is one of the results of the regulations, post-crisis regulations. Banks can't be everything to everyone, or very few of them can.
Right, so they're focusing on certain market segments and then they're becoming the leaders in those areas.
Absolutely, and some banks have really had breakout years, which is great to see.
All right. Well, tell us a bit about the shocks. I mean, we've had Brexit, we've had
volatility at the beginning of the year, right from the beginning of the year. Yes, so Brexit obviously has been the dominant theme. It's interesting to see the fallout. It maybe hasn't been quite as big as people expected in terms of deal flow. What's your impression in terms of the future of the city at this point?
Well, that's right. I mean, obviously everybody's concerned about it. A lot depends on what sort of relationship the UK has with the European Union and what it could be negotiated. The big thing for the investment banks is to try and keep their passport.
Yeah, of course.
But that's looking a little bit remote at the moment from the soundings we're getting from the political side. But investment banks are very creative, as you said. So I think that they will have to weigh the balance of the advantages of being in London, which is obviously the depth of the capital markets, the legal system, the time zone, the skill base, and so forth, against what extra effort they're going to have to put in to sell their services into Europe. So it's going to be a long process. It's going to be a worrying process, but hopefully it will resolve itself in due course.
I guess we'll have a lot to talk about this time next year then.
That's right. So from us at the Investment Banking Awards, we're waiting to have a great evening. Have a good evening too.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, Citi, come on up, we know what for. Come and get it.
I'm with Ignacio Gutierrez Orantia, co-head of strategic coverage EMEA for Citigroup, and congratulations, Ignacio, on winning our top award, the most innovative investment bank of the year.
Thank you, Brad.
So, I mean, tell me a little bit about how Citi has triumphed. It's been a very difficult year for the banks, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. No, thank you very much, first, Brian, and thank you, The Banker, for this award. We are very pleased to collect this award today. I think, in reality, the way we see innovation is as a must for us. I think. The definition probably of innovation is a best solution for a new challenge.
Right.
And I cannot think of more challenging environment than one we have now.
Okay, so the more challenging the environment is, the more innovative you become.
Absolutely, it's like a Darwinian concept, like the evolution of a species. I mean, either we innovate or we not succeed. So it's not only the clients, it's also us as a financing industry, the one that need to also innovate. No? So
all right, so tell us a little bit about aspects of that in particular. So, for example, in the project finance area, where we also gave you the separate award. I mean, and you did this great work in New York with LaGuardia Airport. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're very proud. I mean, we very rapidly saw that infrastructure is a great asset class. I think the more we think about it, the more we believe that it's a real asset class coming. There's lots of search for deals. Investors are really looking into that, and it's a good place to deploy money. So we have really assembled a strong task force. But together with our 100-country presence, which is something very difficult to replicate, gives us a very strong foothold into the sector. And so in particular, we've done 2 or 3 transactions that are worth mentioning. I mean, you mentioned LaGuardia Airport, which is a very good one. Where
and that was the first public-private partnership, or was the largest?
Absolutely. No, I think
it
has several kind of milestones, that transaction. We worked for Skanska and series of other investors there. And the reality is that we did, it was a $3.9 billion investment there, and we issued the largest tax-exempt bond ever for $2.4 billion. It was also the largest P3 project, as you mentioned. It's been the largest infrastructure project in an airport in the US ever. So together with that, we just did the Citi Mexico DF airport financing, which is the largest infrastructure bond for the emerging markets. And we have been also working in a couple of transactions. Probably the worth mentioning here in Europe is the DP World in London takeaway, where we basically structure and arrange refinancing for the company with a private placement into some insurance companies for the client. It's been very successful.
Okay, so that's project finance. Now, what about debt and equity? Just pick me out sort of one deal from each category. I know there's a lot.
It's obviously difficult, and probably wouldn't be fair for the rest of the people in the bank. Just pick one transaction. Probably, if I think of on the debt side, and probably for sovereign, there've been a couple of transactions that have been worth mentioning. One is the Abu Dhabi. First time that they've been tapping the markets in 7 years with a $5 billion bond in 2 tranches with a huge demand, 20 billion, where we were acting.
And then you did this deal for Argentina, where you brought them back into the capital markets.
Absolutely, right. And that was a very important deal because after 15 years, Argentina tapped the market. It's been the largest sovereign emerging market bond ever, and probably puts an end to a hugely contentious process with the government and some investors. And it was a huge demand, 70 billion. For the country in that thing. So those 2 assets, those kind of transactions are very worth mentioning.
And then finally on the equity side, I mean, tell us a little bit about this First Data deal, because that was a huge deal.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's been the largest IPO that we did last year, probably 1 year ago for First Data. We're very proud of that transaction. And also there's probably another transaction this year in April, which was this exchange operator BATS, where kind of we reopened the market in the US, which we're also very proud of. I think those probably could be 5 or 6 examples of things that we have done recently.
Ignacio, thank you very much and have a great evening.
Welcome. Thank you very much. Thank you, Brian, and we're very pleased to have this prize and award. Thanks a lot.
From Latin America, the most innovative investment bank in Latin America is Bradesco BBI.
Welcome to the Bankers Investment Banking Awards. I'm here with Marcelo Cabral from Bradesco BBI, our winner for Latin America. Thank you very much for being with me tonight and congratulations on the awards.
Well, thank you for having me and thank you very much for the recognition of this award on behalf of my colleagues in São Paulo, New York and here in London. We're honored with the award.
Now, Brazil is undergoing a pretty tough time, both economically and politically, but the big banks in the country are doing relatively well.
Yeah, absolutely right. It's one of the things that perhaps characterizes Brazil. We have a very sound financial system, and despite of the economic gyrations we have seen in the country in the last 3 or 4 years, the banking system has remained very solid, very liquid, very solvent, and we didn't have any kind of systemic concerns in the country.
No big shocks, at least for the moment, and hopefully not even in the future.
I don't think we'll have anything like that in the future.
Good. The investment banks also continue to deliver very interesting and innovative products for their clients. And all of us at the bank were very much impressed with the breadth of the solutions that you put together at Bradesco, from innovative, tax-exempt infrastructure debentures that were appealing for retail investors, to project financing deals, securitizaation, to a very rich M&A portfolio as well. And I know that you guys are very proud, particularly about your M&A activity.
Exactly. Well, having been in Brazil for 75 years, we have seen so many cycles that creativity is a must for any successful financial company in Brazil. So we're proud to be able to deliver to our clients and to bring to bear all the experience we have in dealing with unique situations and unexpected situations in the economy. We've been very busy indeed on our M&A practice. In investment banking in general, we're seeing a very healthy recovery in terms of activity. We're seeing several institutional investors go into Brazil, looking at the country right now, doing their due diligence, sovereign wealth funds, operators, very large multinational companies. I think there's renewed optimism in Brazil, and my colleagues in São Paulo have been extremely busy.
So we can use the M&A activity perhaps also as a barometer to try and understand how things will perform economically also in the future.
I think so. I think a lot of investors in Brazil, both portfolio investors and FDI investors, were a little bit concerned about the currency, the sense that perhaps the Brazilian currency was a bit overvalued. I think now there's more comfort that the real is trading at more realistic levels. So we got that risk factor out of the way. Throughout the course of this year, we've seen a lot of investors waiting to see a resolution on the political front.
Of course.
We have that. We have a new administration, a very competent team at the central bank, within the planning and the economic areas of the government. And I think little by little, confidence is coming back. And most of our clients on the buy side are not asking whether they're going to invest or not in Brazil or buy or sell, but they're really asking when. So we're very positive for the last month of the year and for 2017.
So hopefully we're going to see even more interesting and innovative deals coming from you and your peers next year.
Hopefully.
Thank you very much and congratulations again.
Thank you.
And the Welsh Innovative Investment Bank for M&A is BBS.
Hello, I'm Danielle Miles, Investment Banking and Capital Markets Editor at The Banker, and I'm here with Piero Novelli, Global Head of Advisory at UBS, which has won the M&A Award tonight. Congratulations, Piero.
Thank you very much. Very happy to be here.
UBS has been financial advisor on notable deals across the Americas, EMEA and Asia Pacific over the past 12 months.
Yes.
What do you think underpins the bank's success in such a broad range of markets?
Well, a few important things. I mean, our strategy is to lead with strong trust-based relationships with corporate clients and to commit ourselves to deals where we have a genuine angle, whereby we can unlock a situation, unlock a deal, and create substantial value for our clients. That's our strategy. We are not in the volume mass market, leading with the balance sheet, getting league table credit. That's not what we do. That's not our strategy. Our strategy is different. Secondly, importantly, we are forced without capital to be innovative and to be creative. We have to add value. There is no way around it. So I think our strategy of being capital light and leading with advice and intellectual capital has forced us, each one of us, to actually be a lot more creative and innovative and dedicate ourselves to deals where we can genuinely create value. Thirdly and lastly, the team has been in place for long. The M&A team, the leadership of the M&A team, we all know each other very well. There is a long tenure. We have added substantial talent over the last 2 years, and we're very well integrated globally. So our global footprint is very well deployed in a coordinated fashion for our clients. That's why a lot of those deals were indeed cross-border or cross-continental,
yeah.
so to say. A lot of the deals we discussed.
Our judges really honed in on some of those deals, such as Chemgina, Syngenta, but also some of the more particular transactions, such as the Thames Tideway deal,
yes,
where sort of an M&A style bidding process was included as part of the procurement process. To you, which deals really stand out as highlights from the 12 months?
Well, those are certainly great deals because we were innovators in those deals, particularly on the Thames utility and Thames Tideway tunnel. The first time that you apply M&A techniques for the procurement of an infrastructure provider, And in doing that, we lowered the cost of capital and provided value to not only the utilities, but customers and consumers, and to the government by having a more efficient capital structure and getting the right sources of capital to invest on a £4.2 billion project. I would also mention a couple of other deals that are very interesting because of their technical aspects. One deal in the States is what was part of our submission, the North Star
Yes, of course, yes.
Realty Finance three-way merger with North Star Asset Management and with Colony Capital. A $17 billion company was created from it. With a three-way merger of three public companies with the presence of an activist in one. It was an equity REIT, a mortgage REIT, and a C Corp, three different corporations of these kinds that got merged to create a very large company, and a lot of value was created. Another deal in the States that we did that we're proud of is to have advised Molson Coors on Miller Coors on a $12 billion takeover from ABI subsequent to the takeover of SAB Miller. That strategically created a lot of value for Molson Coors, which is an important client for us. Share price, I think, went up by 45% in the subsequent 9 months post-announcement of that deal. Created substantial value, strategically was impeccable for the company. And we're very proud of deals like this. And lastly, a deal in China that I would mention, a major restructuring of three SOEs, China Costco, merged with Costco Pacific, and China Shipping in a three-way combination whereby there were 4 separate transactions executed in parallel to restructure the whole group. It's the second largest SOE reorganization, and we were exclusive financial advisor to China Costco on it. The first largest was a CNR CSR, the railways that merged 2 years ago, and we advised on that too. These are the type of deals that we're really proud of.
So obviously a lot to think back about over the past 12 months, but what about
Absolutely.
looking forward? What are you expecting in terms of deal flow and I guess the major sort of headwinds and drivers going forward?
Well, there is a clear sense that the peak of the cycle is behind us. And the deal-making activity clearly has slowed down relative to 15, both globally in the US and in Europe. The only area that is flat is Asia, because of China outbound being such a large volume of deals.
Yes.
But otherwise, there is a sense that that is what is going on. However, going forward, to the extent that the financing markets and the stock markets stay where they are, this is still a level of activity which is very intense and very large relative to history, because 20% down on 15 means 20% down on the record ever.
Yeah.
So it's still a very active deal environment. Our pipeline is very strong. Our dialogue with corporates make us think that this is continuing, certainly in Europe even more so than in the States. But the major caveat is, are the markets going to continue to support us and help us both the equity markets as well as the financing markets? If they remain this way, possibly the level of activity will stay the same, but we're very dependent on that. So,
Great. Thank you very much, Piero, and congratulations
sure.
again.
It was my pleasure. Thank you.